Josh here with Fanatic Pace Sports, doing a Detroit Tigers update. Going to focus on the standings here. Figured it would be a good day to do that since they are off today. Can go a little more in depth on just where they're at and what's ahead, or what it's going to kind of take in a general sense for them to make the playoffs. Detroit Tigers are 61-66. They are in fourth place in the division. They are 5 games back of the first place Chicago White Sox. That's tricky for a few reasons. First, 5 games is a lot in 35 games. I always say, I think you can kind of say, hey, we got a real good chance, decent chance when it's a game for every 10 games left. So we would really want that more in the 3 to 3.5 game range or less. 5 is a lot. Compounding that is that not only are they in fourth place, meaning there's 2 teams between them and the White Sox, is that the 3 teams ahead of them, the White Sox, the Twins, and the Guardians, they will more than likely, if not already, have lost the tiebreaker, which is the season series. They've already lost the season series to the Guardians. They are 2-7 against the Guardians, so they can only win. They only have 4 more games left, so they've lost that series. The Twins, they are 2-5 against the Twins. They have 6 games left, so they would need to go 5-1 against the Twins to win that series. Possible, yes. Likely, no. The White Sox, they are 3-6 against the White Sox. They have 4 games left. They need to go 4-0 in Chicago against the White Sox to win that season series. Possible, yes. Likely, no. So, looking at that, you can you can add a game to the games back. You could kind of say they're 6 games back of the White Sox because they have to finish 1 win ahead of the White Sox. They can't tie the White Sox. So, again, that might sound confusing. I'll go more in depth on that if it ever really becomes a sticking point, with that. Fangraphs says they have a 7.8 chance to win the division. For whatever that's worth for people if they follow Fangraphs. I've mentioned it before. Wild card wise, it's kind of not much better. Yes, I know that you say, oh, they're a game and a half out, but there's 5 teams ahead of them, which makes it really difficult to jump all 5 teams. Also, of those 5 teams, there's only one team, the Texas Rangers, that they're going to win, again, the same tiebreaker or season series. They're going to win that season series. 2 teams involved, the Twins and Guardians, we've already talked about. They've already lost one and probably will lose the other against the Twins. The Blue Jays, they've essentially lost that because they only have 3 games left. They are 0-3 against the Blue Jays. Even if it went to 3-3, the next tiebreaker is interdivision record, and the Tigers are terrible in their own division, 13-22. That's another whole discussion maybe for a later day. But so the Blue Jays would win that, and the Orioles, we know what happened a couple weeks ago that got traded. They lost the only 3 games. They lost that season, that series 2-1, and that they're not playing them again. So, all in all, again, Fangraphs says they have a 6.8 chance to win the wild card. Again, they still think it's relative. It's a relative statement. Still, more likely they win the division, just because there's 5 teams ahead of them in that wild card, and they only play a few, and the tiebreakers really factor into that. For instance, Cleveland only has 1 more win than the Tigers. The Guardians are 62-66, but because of tiebreakers, that wild card percentage for them is 12.7. Okay, so those matter because it's hard because it essentially adds a game on. As far as the remaining schedule, guys, you can say, hey, it's the Guardians, it's the Twins, the Royals have been playing, first of all, this weekend, the Royals have been playing well. They've won 5 in a row. They got Barbie Witt and Maikel Garcia back. Caglianone has been doing well. They face Michael Wacha Saturday. And other than that, the Nationals and the Rockies are the only 2 teams that have worse records than them remaining. The Nationals have scored the most runs in all of baseball. The Rockies have scored the 6th most runs. So yes, they're I know it's the Rockies, but they can score runs. So nothing's easy left. Oh, and by the way, they have the Rays and Dodgers coming into town next week. So it's going to be tough, guys. Just to kind of give that update, I don't see them making the playoffs. Though again, I also said that months ago, even before they traded Tarek, I didn't see it happening. They've made it closer than I thought. I'll admit that they did. Even I guess you could say before this recent losing 5 out of 6, but it's going to be tough, guys. And I know everyone wants to talk about their pitching. I'm not as high even on their starting pitching as I think a lot of people are. I know what the stats say. That included Tarek, that included Casey for most of those stats. There's just too much unknown. I know Troy has been great. Cater overall has been great, but even some of his actual starts have been up and down, and that's just being objective. I'm sorry, guys, if you don't want to hear it. Take a look at stats. Cater hasn't been as good starting as he has been out of the bullpen. Okay. So you just don't know who you're going to get. Even Troy, I mean, let's just be honest too. It was great when they faced some bad teams on the West Coast, Mariners included. Mariners, guys, least amount of runs in all of baseball, just to make sure you guys know that. Giants, not good. A's, not good. And then, they faced the White Sox, and it was a little tougher for Troy and Jackson. Jackson got hit pretty hard. And Jackson did okay against the Pirates, didn't look great, so we just don't know yet. A lot of inexperience pitching-wise, guys. Unfortunately, as much as we want to all say Troy and Jackson are going to win Cy Youngs, we don't know yet. And I'm going to go more into kind of the future and next year at a later date, just because I don't want to make this video too long. But there's a lot of question marks, guys. And for the fans that wanted Tarek out the door, I understand it. I'm not saying you were wrong or it shouldn't happen, but this is what you signed up for, whether you knew it or not. This team is very young, pitching and position player-wise, and there's just a lot of unknowns. And it's going to take some time for a lot of these guys to get experience. So 35 games left. They got to do well in Kansas City and then buckle up for next week. So Troy on the mound tomorrow, and we will see what happens.